was passive decay. Memories just fading like old photographs. They were wrong, dead wrong. Your brain contains specialized molecular machinery designed specifically to delete information. Proteins that hunt down memories and erase them. On purpose. This isn't a flaw in human cognition. It's a feature that makes cognition possible. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the most important thing your brain does isn't remembering. It's forgetting. In 2017, researchers at the Bargava lab made a discovery that rewrote everything we thought we knew about memory. They found a protein called RAC1, and RAC1 has one job: destruction. When scientists swapped RAC1 in mice, something strange happened. The mice remembered everything. Old fears they should have forgotten. Outdated maze routes. Information that was no longer useful. At first, this seemed incredible. Memory-enhancing drugs. The end of forgetting. Then the problem started. These mice didn't learn new things. Their brains were so cluttered with old information that new information couldn't stick. They became confused, disoriented, unable to adapt. The researchers realized something profound. RAC1 wasn't causing memory problems. RAC1 was preventing them. Your brain produces this protein specifically to clear out neural pathways, to make room, to keep you functional. But here's where it gets really interesting. RAC1 doesn't delete randomly. Your brain is running a constant cost-benefit analysis on every single memory you have. Memories that get accessed frequently, protected, reinforced, strengthened. Memories that sit unused, marked for deletion. This process is called synaptic pruning, and it happens most aggressively while you sleep. Your brain literally waits until you're unconscious to take out the trash. But the selection process isn't just about frequency. It's about relevance. Your hippocampus, the brain's memory center, tags information based on emotional significance, survival value, and connection to existing knowledge. A random Tuesday lunch, gone within weeks. The day you almost got hit by a car, seared in permanently. This is why you can remember song lyrics from 15 years ago, but not what you had for breakfast. Your brain decided the lyrics mattered more, and that decision was probably right. But what happens when this system breaks down? Her name is Jill Price, and she remembers everything, every day since she was 14 years old. In perfect detail, she can tell you what she ate for dinner on March 17th, 1992, what the weather was like, what she was wearing, what song was playing on the radio. Scientists call her condition hyperthymesia, highly superior autobiographical memory. Fewer than 100 people in the world have it. Jill calls it a burden. She describes her mind as a split screen, constantly playing the present alongside the past. Every bad memory, every regret, every embarrassing moment, all of it, all the time. In high definition, she can't escape her worst days because she relives them with the same intensity as when they happened. When researchers scanned her brain, they found something remarkable. The regions responsible for memory storage were abnormally large, but the regions responsible for memory suppression were abnormally quiet. Jill's brain never learned to forget, and it's destroying her. This brings us to memory interference theory, and it changes everything. Here's the problem with perfect memory. Every new experience creates new neural patterns. These patterns need to connect to existing knowledge to become meaningful. But if your existing knowledge is infinite, where do new patterns connect? Everywhere, and nowhere useful. Imagine trying to find a file in a cabinet with 10 million folders. Now imagine that every time you search, you accidentally create 10 new folders about the search itself. That's what happens in a brain that can't forget. Old memories interfere with new memories. Similar experiences blend together. The signal drowns in noise. Researchers at Stanford demonstrated this by overloading AI neural networks with information and preventing them from pruning connections. The networks became useless. They couldn't distinguish between important patterns and random noise. Sound familiar? It should, because this is exactly what happens in certain neurological conditions. Here's the cruel irony. We spend our lives fearing memory loss, dreading the thought of dementia, terrified of forgetting the people we love. But some of the most devastating cognitive conditions aren't caused by too much forgetting. They're caused by the wrong kind of forgetting. In Alzheimer's disease, the brain's deletion system goes haywire. It starts erasing the wrong memories. Recent experiences vanish while ancient memories remain. The brain loses its ability to prioritize. It forgets how to forget correctly. Meanwhile, in conditions like PTSD, the opposite happens. Traumatic memories that should fade never do. The normal forgetting process fails specifically for the memories you most need to escape. The brain marks them as too important to delete, and so they replay, again and again. This tells us something crucial. The goal isn't maximum memory. It isn't minimum forgetting. It's optimal forgetting. The right memories, at the right time, in the right amounts. But here's what nobody talks about. Forgetting doesn't just prevent problems. It creates possibilities. Creativity requires forgetting. This sounds backwards, but think about it. To have a new idea, you need to break old patterns. You need to see familiar things in unfamiliar ways. You need to forget the obvious solution to find the innovative one. Studies show that people with exceptional memories are often less creative. They're so good at recalling what's been done before that they struggle to imagine what hasn't. The blank spaces in your memory aren't empty. They're open. They're room for synthesis, for imagination, for the kind of novel connections that define human creativity. Every artist knows this intuitively. You have to forget the rules before you can break them. You have to forget the conventional before you can create the extraordinary. Your brain's delete function isn't erasing your potential. It's creating it. There's another hidden benefit. Forgetting allows you to change. Imagine if you perfectly remembered every version of yourself. Every cringeworthy face. Every outdated belief. Every person you used to be. How would you ever become someone new? The ability to forget old identities is what allows new identities to form. It's not just neural housekeeping. It's psychological evolution. This is why nostalgia often feels better than the original experience. Your brain has edited out the boring parts. The uncomfortable parts. The parts that didn't serve the story you tell yourself about your life. Is this self-deception? Maybe, but it's also self-construction. The person you are today exists because you forgot most of the person you were yesterday. Memory isn't a recording, it's a narrative, and every good narrative requires editing, cutting, deletion. Your brain is the editor, and it's been working on your story since the day you were born. Machine learning engineers figured this out the hard way. Early AI systems were designed to retain everything. Every data point, every training example, every piece of information they ever encountered. They performed terribly. The solution? Deliberate forgetting. Modern neural networks use techniques called dropout and regularization. These methods randomly delete connections during training. They force the network to forget. And paradoxically, this makes the AI smarter, more adaptable, better at handling new situations. The human brain has been running this algorithm for millions of years. Evolution discovered what computer scientists had to learn through failure. Intelligence isn't about storage capacity. It's about compression, prioritization, the strategic destruction of information. Your brain holds roughly 2.5 petabytes of potential storage, but it actively uses only a fraction of that. Not because it can't hold more, because holding more would make you less intelligent, not more. So how does your brain decide what to forget? Timing matters enormously. Memories are most vulnerable right after formation and during sleep. That's when RAC1 and other forgetting mechanisms are most active. This is why cramming for exams doesn't work. You're forming memories at the exact moment your brain is deciding what to delete. Without sleep, without consolidation time, most of that information gets flagged as disposable. But you can influence the process. Emotional intensity protects memories. So does repetition. So does connecting new information to existing knowledge. And meaning, above all, meaning. Your brain preserves what matters to you. What connects to your goals. What fits into your understanding of who you are and what you're doing. Random facts evaporate. Personally significant experiences endure. This isn't a flaw. It's a filter. And it's been refined by millions of years of survival pressure. Our ancestors ancestors didn't need to remember everything. They needed to remember the right things. Where the predators hunt, which berries are poisonous, who can be trusted, who can't. An ancestor who perfectly remembered every irrelevant detail but forgot where the tigers lived. Dead, gone, no descendants. Natural selection ruthlessly optimized for strategic forgetting. The humans who survived were the ones whose brains deleted efficiently, preserved wisely, updated constantly. You are the product of that optimization. Your tendency to forget isn't a mistake your genes made. It's the reason your genes exist at all. Every forgetting brain that came before you succeeded, survived, reproduced. The perfect memory brains? They're not in your lineage. They couldn't adapt fast enough. They drowned in data while your ancestors made quick decisions and stayed alive. You inherited their deletion machinery, and it's still protecting you today. Here's the truth nobody wants to accept. You will forget most of your life. Most conversations will disappear. Most days will blur together. Most of what you experience will fade into neurosilence. And that's not tragic. It's necessary. It's what allows you to be present instead of drowning in the past. It's what allows you to grow instead of calcifying. It's what allows you to function instead of fragmenting. The memories that remain, they remain because they mattered. Because your brain, in its ancient wisdom, decided they were worth keeping. Trust that process. Your forgetting is not failure. It's curation. It's your brain giving you the gift of a story instead of a surveillance tape. So the next time you can't remember something, don't despair. Ask yourself instead, what is my brain making room for? What new thought? What new experience? What new version of myself is growing in that empty space? But this raises a question that science can't fully answer. If your brain is constantly deleting and editing your memories, constantly rewriting your past to serve your present, then